Some songs entertain you for a moment. Others wait for the right time to tell you the truth. And in 2026, Man in the Mirror feels less like a hit and more like a warning for the soul. If you've been anywhere near social media lately, you've probably felt it. Michael Jackson is everywhere again. His face, his music, the old clips, the arguments, the memories, the comparisons, the headlines, the endless opinions. With a new film about his life on the way, the internet is doing what it always does, revisiting, debating, defending, accusing, celebrating, arguing. And maybe that was always going to happen. But today, I don't want to stay on the surface of all that noise. I want to slow the whole thing down for a moment and sit with one message that has outlived the drama, outlived the headlines, and outlived the mood of the crowd. Because Man in the Mirror is not just a nostalgic hit. It's not just a famous chorus. It's not just one of those songs people admire and then move on from. It's a call, a mirror, a quiet interruption. And perhaps that is exactly why it feels so relevant in early 2026. Because this is not a gentle time. People are tired in ways they don't always know how to explain. The headlines feel heavy. The public mood feels tense. Even ordinary conversations can feel loaded now. There is so much fear in the air, so much suspicion, so much performance, so much pressure to react instantly, loudly, sharply. And if we're not careful, all of that starts shaping us from the inside. We become harder without noticing, more cynical without meaning to, less patient, less tender, less able to believe in quiet goodness. And that is why this song still matters, because it points in the opposite direction. It reminds us that change does not begin out there, in some abstract system, or in the behavior of strangers, or in the people we blame most easily. It begins much closer than that. It begins with me, with the way I speak, the way I react, the way I treat people when no one is applauding, the way I carry myself when life feels unfair, the way I choose love over contempt, even in small and hidden places. That is the challenge in Man in the Mirror, and that is also its comfort. Because if change begins with me, then I am not powerless. As this film brings Michael Jackson's life back into focus, there is something worth remembering here. Whatever people may think about him as a person, many accounts over the years described someone who practiced charity on a large scale, supporting causes, visiting hospitals, offering help where he could. That matters. Not because famous people should be romanticized, not because wealth makes someone morally special, and not because public acts of kindness erase every complexity in a human life. It matters because it reveals a principle that is timeless. A message becomes more powerful when it becomes action. It is one thing to sing about healing. It is another thing to show up for it. It is one thing to move people emotionally. It is another thing to relieve suffering in some concrete way. And maybe that is where this message becomes uncomfortable in the best possible sense. Because most of us do not have a global platform. Most of us are not wealthy. Most of us are not famous. Most of us cannot build hospitals or fund major causes or influence millions of people with one performance. So it would be very easy to listen to a song like this, admire it, and quietly excuse ourselves from its challenge. To think, well, yes, that sounds beautiful. But people with money can do more. People with influence can do more. People with reach can do more. And of course, in one sense, that is true. Money can help. Influence can help. Visibility can help. But money is only one form of power. It is not the only form, and it may not even be the most important one in everyday life. Not everyone has millions, but almost everyone has something. Time, attention, energy, skill, patience, gentleness, a word that steadies someone, a message sent at the right moment, a meal shared without making it a performance, a lift home, a visit, a practical favor, a listening ear when someone feels invisible, even choosing not to speak harshly to your own family when your nerves are frayed. That too is a form of goodness. And sometimes compassion moves beyond people in ways that still reveal who we are. A bowl of water left out on a hot day, stopping for an injured animal, supporting a shelter, feeding a stray, handling fragile life with tenderness instead of indifference. These things may look small from the outside, but small is not the same as meaningless. That is something our world keeps forgetting. We have been trained to admire what is visible, impressive, large-scale and dramatic. But much of the good that keeps this world from collapsing is quiet. Someone stays, someone forgives, someone gives, someone notices, someone softens their tone, someone refuses to add cruelty to an already painful day. That is not weakness. That is strength in a form the internet rarely rewards. So compassion does not begin in your bank account. It begins in your heart. And then, if the heart is willing, it finds a way. That leads to a deeper question. Why do we call this song beautiful? What exactly are we responding to? Is it just the writing, the melody, the voice, the emotional build, the unforgettable performance? Partly, yes. But I think there is something else. Sometimes a message feels beautiful because it comforts us, and sometimes it feels beautiful because it tells the truth about who we could still become. That kind of beauty does not merely soothe, it awakens. It reminds us that we were not made only to consume, react, complain, compare, and scroll. We were made to contribute, to repair, to lift, to bring some form of mercy into the places we touch. And that is why Man in the Mirror remains powerful. It comforts us, and it confronts us. It says, in effect, if you can see what is broken, good. Now ask what must change in you. And that question lands differently in the world we are living in now. Because a lot of people today are not only stressed, they are almost being trained into stress. The constant alerts, the emotional bait, the outrage cycle, the catastrophes, the arguments dressed up as moral clarity, the pressure to respond to everything, the subtle fear that if you stop checking, you'll miss something important. Even when we are not directly in danger, our minds and bodies can begin living as though we are. Always braced, always scanning, always tense. And when fear becomes a habit, it starts changing our character. We expect the worst. We lose patience quickly. We become reactive. We stop listening properly. We reduce people to categories. We confuse sarcasm with wisdom. We mistake harshness for strength. We perform outrage instead of practicing love. That is one of the quiet spiritual dangers of this age. Not simply that bad things happen, but that the atmosphere around us slowly reshapes the soul. And this is why songs like this still matter, because they interrupt the formation of hardness. They whisper a different possibility. Do not let the world decide the condition of your heart. Do not let noise become your personality. Do not let fear train you into someone you never meant to be. Choose who you will be, and then act like it. Perhaps this is a good moment to turn the message inward, not dramatically, not with shame, not in the spirit of self-accusation, just honestly, quietly. If you can, take one slow breath in and out, and ask yourself, what in me needs to change so that I can be part of the answer, not part of the problem? Not in some grand, heroic way, in a real way, in the way I actually live. Maybe I need to change how I speak when I'm under pressure. Maybe I need to stop turning irritation into a personality. Maybe I need to stop mocking what I don't understand. Maybe I need to stop feeding on negativity and calling it awareness. Maybe I need to stop living on autopilot, always reacting, always commenting, always agitated, never building anything gentle or lasting. Because the world is not changed mainly by people who win arguments. It is changed, over time, by people who bring light into rooms. And that brings us to a question that feels especially important in 2026. Does my presence online spread peace or spread fear? It is such a simple question, and yet it reveals a lot. Before I post this, before I share this, before I add my voice to this pile of noise, what am I actually spreading? Am I spreading panic? Am I spreading suspicion? Am I spreading humiliation? Am I spreading contempt? Am I spreading hopelessness under the disguise of just being realistic? Or am I spreading calm, clarity, kindness, truthfulness, self-control? A single post can intensify anxiety. A single comment can deepen someone's bitterness. A single cruel joke can humiliate someone in front of thousands. But the opposite is also true. A single message can steady a person. A single kind response can restore dignity. A single act of restraint can stop more darkness from entering the room. So here is a practical filter. If what I'm about to share makes people more fearful, more angry, more suspicious, more hopeless, why am I sharing it? Is it helping? Is it healing? Is it clarifying? Or am I simply passing along disturbance because disturbance is contagious? That question matters. And then comes the question that turns reflection into action. What is the smallest change I can make today and actually follow through on? Not a dramatic reinvention, not a heroic promise, not the sort of emotional vow we make at night and forget by morning. The smallest real change, checking in on someone who has gone quiet, apologizing for a harsh word, giving a small amount instead of waiting until you can give a large one, helping a neighbor with something ordinary, doing one act of kindness in secret, choosing not to repost something that feeds panic, putting out food or water for an animal, supporting a local rescue, sitting in prayer or stillness for 5 minutes before touching your phone, speaking more gently in your own home, looking someone in the eye when they speak to you, thanking the person everyone overlooks. These things are not tiny in the moral life. They are the moral life. Small does not mean weak. Small does not mean invisible. Small means possible. Small means embodied. Small means real. And real change compounds. One choice shapes a habit. A habit shapes a character. A character shapes the atmosphere around a life. That is how change travels. And if we want to build a gentle spiritual bridge here, it appears quite naturally. Jesus often turns our attention away from the obsession with everyone else's flaws and brings us back to the inner work we avoid. Not to shame us, but to free us. Because mercy tells the truth and still leaves the door open. Again and again, the gospel returns to this same steady idea. Love is not a slogan. It becomes visible. In feeding, in visiting, in caring, in forgiving, in showing up, in seeing the overlooked, in doing the good that is possible from where you stand. That is why a song like Man in the Mirror can become more than a memory. It can become a practice. Less noise, more integrity. Less performance, more compassion. Less commentary, more presence. Less self-display, more quiet courage. And perhaps that is the real invitation beneath all the discussions surrounding this film. Yes, the film is coming. Yes, people will talk. Yes, the internet will be loud. Yes, old controversies will be reopened. Yes, everyone will have an opinion. But you do not have to become noise just because noise is available. You can be steady. You can be tender without being naive. You can be thoughtful without becoming passive. You can be honest without becoming cruel. You can be aware of darkness without serving it. Because in times like these, the world does not only need more information, it needs more peace. It needs more courage. It needs more integrity. It needs more ordinary people doing quiet good when nobody is clapping. And maybe that is the deepest legacy of this message. The most powerful change does not begin in public. It begins in private. It begins in the unseen decision, the restrained word, the softened tone, the generous act, the surrendered ego, the honest look inward. It begins in the mirror. So here is the challenge for today. Before you post, pause. Before you react, pause. Before you repeat the fear of the crowd, pause. And ask yourself, quietly and truthfully, am I spreading peace or spreading fear? Carry that mirror with you today. Let it guide one small act of kindness, seen or unseen. If these words steadied you even a little, hit that like button, subscribe to Moments of Peace, and turn on notifications so you never miss a moment like this. In the comments, what change are you choosing? Let's inspire each other. Peace be with you.